In this Google Classroom Basics video, we're going to look at using Google Drive. We're going to be looking at creating and saving files within Google Drive, choosing and using appropriate sharing features, and assigning Google Drive files as assignments in Google Classroom. So first thing we'll do is go to google.com, and if we're already logged in, we'll just be able to choose the app to go to Drive. Within Drive, we're going to choose to do we could choose folder, or doc, or sheet. So docs are like a Microsoft Word file, sheets would be similar to Excel, slides would be similar to PowerPoint. We can also choose more. Google Forms is going to allow us to create surveys or quizzes, which is a nice tool. We'll be able to make drawings here. You can also add other apps. For example, as a math teacher, I've added GeoGebra here. And so we can add any of these kinds of files in here. In this video, we're going to focus on Google Docs. The first thing we'll notice is it's currently untitled, so we might want to start by giving a name to this file. Now I'm thinking about how I can share this to use it as a classroom assignment, so I'm just going to type a brief paragraph here. Now that I've created a file, I need to be able to share it with my students. And so I'll go to this Share tab here. Currently it's private only to me, but if I want to share, there's a few ways I can do that. One way is to directly give it to an email address through my contact list. And I can choose whether I want them to be able to edit, comment, or view. I'm going to talk about all these features, but I'm going to start with Can View, and we'll see how these progressively give more permission. Now this should notify any of the people that you add to this, and you can add more people. This should notify them by email with a link to this doc. You can also choose some more advanced settings, which I'll look at in a moment, but let's go ahead and send this. And they should get it instantaneously. Now some of the more advanced settings is I could just get a link and send this to anyone. But when you do that, you need to make sure that the people you share that link with have access to the file. So right now, only specific people can access it. I'm going to change that. I could make it public, anyone on the web, anyone with a link. That's usually the one I want to choose. But notice right here, this tells what they can do. Right now, anyone can view it. We could also give them permission to comment or edit. Okay, now going to my pretend student that I've just shared this with, they should be able to find this in their email, but they could also look within their Google Drive. So they're currently in Drive, and if they know the file name, in case they lose it later, they can just start typing the file name, and Google will find that document for them in their Drive. So again, this person could only view this document. So even if they try to type, they won't be able to do that, and they won't be able to do anything. The only feature that they will be able to do, besides reading it, is if someone else is logged in. So here I am, logged in on mine, I can see that they're there, they can see that I'm looking at the file, and so they can start a private chat, and that will be an instant messaging window within the file. So if they only have viewing permissions, they're not going to be able to make any changes to this file. So let's give them some more permission. We'll go back to Share, click on their name, and change this so that they now can comment. Now this person might need to refresh their browser window to get those changes. Notice now that their cursor is green and it says you are suggesting. So the first thing they could do is change what's already written. So maybe they don't like the word collaboration, so they might suggest another thing. So notice that it'll cross out what they deleted and write in what they have written. And this is going to appear over on their sidebar as a suggestion. If we go back to the owner of the document, we'll see that they have a choice here to either accept that suggestion or reject it. They can see exactly what the change is because any change in comment mode will appear in a different color, and they'll also see strike-throughs for the original. Coming back, the person could also add text to the file. And again, it's going to appear in the new thing, and it can be accepted or rejected by the owner. Now one thing that might be useful if you're using this in a classroom, you might be able to give permissions to several students, and then the owner will be able to see which students made which comments. So this could be a good way to use a discussion board, leave it on a comment only function, and then you'll see which student made each comment. Students will be able to reply and respond to each other. They can also choose to respond within this text box, and you'll also see which students or teachers responded over there. Another way that the comment feature can be used is for peer edit. So if a student has permission to their own file, they can choose to share commenting features with a peer, and that peer will be able to make peer edits, and it's a nice way if they share that then with the teacher, you'll be able to see that peers are collaborating on that. Another thing you can do within the document is you can choose the View tab and the mode. So maybe everybody has editing privileges and it's all going to be black, but you want to only suggest certain edits. So you want within your file to be able to make changes that are suggestions so that it clearly stands out from the rest of the file. Other people will see that, and then you can choose to reject or accept those changes later. Okay, next let's look at giving full permission. Let's look at giving full permission by giving can edit permission. Now again, we'll need to refresh it. And now we see the earlier suggestions are in different color depending on who wrote that suggestion. But now whenever we type, it will just become a part of the document. Now we might want to know who actually made what changes if we're doing it that way. And one of the tools you can do is the revision history, which you can find under the File tab and see revision history. And if you forget where certain features are, you can also always go to the Help menu and try typing in what you're looking for, and it'll show up there also. Okay, when I use the revision history, it's going to show up on the side, and I can see different things that have been changed over the course of the creation of this document. And I can also show more detailed changes if I want to see more frequent changes. And one of the nice ways that a teacher can use this, they can see in a group assignment if students are really participating in the creation of that file. They can see if students are just joking around, making silly comments, and things like that. The revision history can also be used to restore a previous change. Maybe you've made a lot of changes that you don't want. You can just go back to any previous version and select that as your current version. Now we'll look at how we can connect Drive to Classroom. If I choose to create an assignment, and I can choose a due date for that, and add a time if I want to, then I want to choose to attach a Google Drive item. Now I might have a lot of files to go through, so the easiest way might be to just remember the name. And so here I have my Create a Doc activity that we just created. And this says students can view file. Notice there are different choices. Students can edit. If you choose the first two, everyone will have the same file, be looking at the same file. And if they edit within this file, everyone will be editing the same file. However, if you choose make a copy for each student will get a copy of that file that's saved with their name, and it will be saved on our About page in the Google folder for this classroom, and they'll be able to turn that in individually. So first let's look at students can view this file and go ahead and assign that. Now right away that's going to appear on the students stream, and they'll be able to open that, and we're just going to click on this doc. And remember, they only had permission to view this document, and that's going to open in another tab. So if they try to type in it, it's not going to work, so that's not really going to do very much for them. So one thing that we can do, we've already assigned it as view only, but if we go to the doc and change the sharing permissions there, and we change it so that anyone with the link can comment, then we should be able to go back. Now we'll have to refresh that to see the changes. And notice that now the cursor appears with "you are suggesting." So now when the student adds things, it will appear with a box over here saying who typed it. It will be in a different color because they've typed it. They'll see it as underlined text, and they'll also see it in their own color there. And so the teacher can either leave it like that, and one good reason to leave it like that is if you have multiple students commenting on the same file, you can see who made which addition. So this could be used as a discussion board or something like that. Now similarly, we can change our settings to anyone can edit, but then all of the changes will be in black. It won't be as easy to see which students made which changes. So I'm going to attach my file in the same way, only this time I'm going to change it so that I'm making a copy for each student. Now it shows that the stream was updated, so the student is getting this new file, and here it is, Create a Doc. And notice that the attachment does not appear on this. Instead, when we open the assignment, it's inside the assignment, and so when they open it up, they know that this is specifically written for them. And any changes they make are going into a file with their name in it. This is my fake student's name. So now this student can edit this in any way. This changes will only appear in their file. So notice in the original file, which just created doc activity, I don't see any changes the student made because this is now saved with that title and their name. So, and each student would have their own name in this. They have the choice here, when they're finished, they can turn it in. If they try to re-edit it, they'll find that they no longer have permission to type in this because they've lost permission. Once they've submitted it, they've said that I'm finished. And so now the teacher has received that as a completed assignment. See, this is marked as done. It will tell you how many students have finished and not finished, and the teacher can open that to grade it, as we've seen in the other video, and can make further comments, can choose to send it back to the student if they want. So that's a basic overview of how Google Drive can be connected to Google Classroom. In the same way, you could use slides or drawing or sheets or forms to attach files to Google Drive.